It's Wednesday on Chicago Hockey Radio. Justin Lynch, Lee Grossman, Tassos Kirkos, and Raven Gasser Zoom podcast today because we all needed the rest, especially our guy Lee. He's really, needing the rest today. So, but everybody needed it. We needed rest and recoup. Happy Wednesday, everybody joining us. If you are new here, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are not new here, please tell a friend to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio and leave a 5-star rating and review if you are an audio-only listener. Although I feel like more and more people are transitioning from the audio to the video section of this show. But coming off the Winter Classic loss yesterday, for those of you that heard me and Justin rant and Lee join in over the phone, a lot of people were a fan of your rant on the telephone, Lee. But we're going to get some more thoughts. That was definitely the coldest and most miserable I've ever been in my life. And I'm not even a Hawks fan here. I am the neutral party here that's supposed to keep everybody, impartial. And that was a miserable experience for me as well. So
Tassos texted after, it was the second
intermission.
And he said, "What'd you say? It's taking every fiber of your being not to leave
right now." Yeah. I stuck around until after the 11-minute mark of the third period. I left after once it, and then immediately after I left, the Hawks scored, and then the Blues scored. But yeah. I do not regret leaving with 9 minutes left in the hockey game. I really don't.
I stuck it out the whole time, man. I don't
know how or why you did that to yourself.
Well, I was gonna say that's a bad decision, is what that is.
I enjoy embracing the suffering and the misery. That's my you grow used to it. I got to see a Bedard point at least. That was about it. But
true.
The experience was still fun. Like the national anthem before the game, I just got goosebumps. Man, Cornelison absolutely nailed it. The place was jumping. The energy was high. The vibes are high. The atmosphere. Got to meet a lot of people, which was great. So I don't regret going. I don't regret spending all the money on the game and the jersey and all that. It was a great experience, but the game itself, man, what a disappointment. I know we talked about it in the post game. I'll have plenty more time to talk about it here, but we know this team sucks, and they're coming up consecutive blowouts to make it 3 in a row, and the Marquee event to close out the season, not the season, the fucking year. Jesus, very disappointing. I'm sure Leo had plenty more to say about it. I enjoyed his cameo from last night.
Yeah, I didn't get home last night till almost 3 a.m. from work, and I wouldn't have traded that still. I would have rather have worked till 3 than go to that game. I see so many people in the chat right now. Just last night felt like a nightmare. I'm still disgusted by that. I stopped watching. A slap in the face to the fans. I don't even know where to begin because it was so bad. So that was their third loss in a row by losing by 4 or more goals.
What was the stat that you said yesterday, Justin? Can you pull it up again?
Yeah. So it was the first time the Hawks have lost games by more than 4 goals. So 4 goals or more since 1987. That was 37 years ago. I mean, that's how.
Yeah. So sorry to cut you off, but what we're watching right now is historic levels of acts.
Seriously.
It's we haven't seen anything like this since the 80s. That's how bad this team is. I don't know if I want to start with what do the owners do? What is the Wirtz family? What fan in their right mind, unless you're a season ticket holder, what fan in their right mind is going to spend a single US dollar on another ticket for the rest of the season? Why would you go to a game? Would you I'm not. Why would you go to a game?
To watch good players on other teams.
Yeah, I guess.
To watch Bedard, that's it. Bedard's the only reason you show up to Hawks games.
When McDavid comes to town, maybe you spend a US dollar on a ticket and wear a jersey that's not a black jersey.
I think of other teams in other markets that would be an issue, but it still is the Chicago Blackhawks. It has more diehard fans than most fan bases. Original 6 teams, Chicago. There's still going to be those people, no matter how bad the product on ice is, they're going to show up. I mean, attendance has been down a little bit, but it's still in the 1,800 range, and the Winter Classic is going to bump that way up. I mean, at that might know if that's really a problem for this team.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not even gonna commend that. I'm not gonna pat a diehard fan that's still spending money and paying this team to go to games for the rest of the season, because it's like, if you want change and you want to hurt them, the only way a fan can do that is just by not going to the game. So yeah, it's so bad. Like, I don't even care about the roster. It's just like business wise, just the response on social media. I when I got home last night late as hell, I was just scrolling and scrolling. I couldn't, dude. It was so bad. People are so disgusted by that. I mean, dude, if you went to that game, you really did get got. Like,
I felt God sitting there.
Well, dude, in the bleachers, bro. I can't, like,
I felt
you can hardly see anything out there.
No. All right. No chirping of the bleacher seats. First of all, I could see the puck. Relax.
But yeah, like when the Blues scored those 2 early power play goals, you just know the rest of the game is going to go. I was already thinking, is it too late for a refund here? Like I was kind of tempted in the second period too. Like I know Tassos, you left maybe a little bit early. Even I was tempted to leave a little early. I was feeling like crap too. If you can't tell, I still feel like crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was literally sick to my stomach watching that Chicago Blackhawks team last night. Just absolutely embarrassing. I do think there's something to be said though. Yes, the Hawks dropped the ball last night. We can all agree on that. But did the NHL drop the ball too? I think this is something we commented on. Somebody on the show commented on at some point on this podcast. Like, what did it not feel a little early to have this Blackhawks team in the Winter Classic in the Bedard era?
I heard a fan say that. I was talking to a couple of fans in the second intermission when I was debating leaving, and one guy literally verbatim said to me, "This is 2 years too early."
Like, this is a rebuilding Hawks team. I know Patrick Kane Tays their second season. But hey, Lee, I'm talking right now. I'm talking. But yeah, I know when Kane and Tays in their second season, right? They got a Winter Classic. The Blackhawks were an actual like hockey team. Like we had all the core guys from the dynasty were there. You know, we were a conference finals team that year. This year's team is a fucking last place garbage dump. Like I think a few years from now, yeah, you want to get Betsy and Co and the Hawks in the Winter Classic. But like now, the timing, this roster, I mean, it just didn't really seem right. Again, I'm not putting that as an excuse on the performance last night. There is no excuse for that. But I do think there is something to be said for that too. You know. Now, Lee, you can talk now.
Tassos, I don't know, Tassos. I don't know how you can hear that and not lose your mind. You're the king of calling out loser talk. That is the definition of loser talk.
No, I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I'm just saying I heard the narrative among fans in attendance there. Like,
is it not a fair point, though?
No, because the Blackhawks are still an original 6 team, and anybody that complains about the Blackhawks getting too many outdoor games, like, doesn't understand the economics of the National Hockey League. And that, like, no, the Columbus Blue Jackets versus Dallas Stars Winter Classic isn't going to do well, fellas, you know?
Also, the NHL is not responsible for the roster that the Blackhawks put on the ice.
Yes.
The Blackhawks are. What are we doing blaming the NHL? I mean, it's like blaming someone else for a problem you clearly caused. That's what that's doing. I'm not going to think about the NHL for a second. Give us, and honestly, realistically, if you want to talk, the Blackhawks should opt out of all outdoor games for the rest of their eternity because they're 1-6, 1-7.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
they always play horribly. You can't blame that on the NHL, dude. It's an original, as Tassos just said, it's an original city. It's one of the biggest markets in the league. It's not on the NHL giving it to us too early. You don't think I have another one in 3 years? Yes, we're gonna have another one in 3 years. Like, no, it's this roster is so bad. And I'm gonna kind of transition a little bit into some of these players like Foligno and Bedard, their post-game statements and stuff. You know, they're talking about like, oh man, we gotta figure this out. You know, we laid an egg. No, you didn't. Saying you laid an egg implies that it kind of just came out of nowhere and you just shit the bed. Oh, we shit the bed. It's like, no, you guys have been getting trounced for the past couple games. Your team sucks. You didn't lay an egg. This didn't come from nowhere. This team doesn't have like, if these guys perform better, it's not like they're somehow going to climb the standings. Like they don't have it in them. They're not good. Let's stop with the narrative. Like, oh man, these guys just got to figure it out. We got to figure out what lines Bedard needs to play on. No, the roster sucks. Just accept that. Say you're tanking and move on. Stop with this. Like, oh, Bertuzzi and Teravainen really need. No, they're not good. They're not first line players. This team was horribly constructed. We're not playing the young guys anymore. It sucks. The team's bad. I don't want to keep hearing like that. Oh, we got to like Foligno was like, credit to him, to be fair. I mean, he's the captain. He has to say this stuff. He has to take responsibility, but it's like, no, you're not going to like work on it and figure this out. That's how I feel. I don't think this is a problem you can just figure out.
Yeah, no, it's funny too, because like as bad as the morale on this team is, before the Winter Classic, now where it's at, you're coming off a 6-2 loss in embarrassing fashion, national television. It's reached, if you thought it could get any lower, it's just going to keep getting lower. And now it's like we still got over half the season left. Like, can we just press the sim button? Can we just sim to the draft? We still got like what, 38? We still got 45 more games or something, 44 more games to watch this season. And I'm just thinking now, it's like, where do we even go from here? Like, what's the goals? What's the New Year's resolutions of this team? Like, what do we want to get out of this season, right? Like, I don't mind losing, but not the way we've lost the last 3 games. We can't get blown out. We can't get embarrassed. There's a right way to lose, a right way to compete, and we're not seeing that right now. And it's just, to see that on the biggest stage is just, it's just sad. It's sad. Yeah.
I think it's like you ask, where do we go? I don't know what the answer is, but I know what the answer isn't. I know that we don't have building blocks on this team for a good squad. Like I'm not talking about any of our young prospects that are back and forth between Rockford. I'm talking about the guys that we brought in. Like these are not guys, like you're not going to build a Stanley Cup contending roster off the back of Teuvo Teravainen. It's not going to happen unless he's quite literally like truly a third line player or a fourth line player. Like these guys, these guys that you have are not something you can build around. So you either have to really try to coax these young guys along quick, or you need to bring in better talent, like a big fish, like Tassos has mentioned pretty much all year long, because these guys aren't good enough.
Yeah, no, we don't need 7 mid editions. We need one like huge edition this offseason. An
Big enough.
actual complimentary piece for Betsy, not this whole bunch of mid, Yeah.
But you need probably two, too. You know what I mean? Like you need one on the back end, one on the front end, and
Right.
and then maybe like another also like really good second line player, and also like Frank Nazar and Oliver Moore, and
You need 2 forwards.
yeah, you need 2 forwards.
And then you either need a defenseman or you need like all these guys to pan out.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we got that top 3 pick and one of those guys could play in the team next year. But again, that's not a guarantee, right? It could be another year later. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, sheesh. Do we have
I also do think I agree with the point that I do think the Hawks are going to get another outdoor game in 2 years. Like
I don't mind the Hawks getting outdoor games. I was just critiquing the timing. I'm not blaming the NHL. I'm not. I'm just saying I think there's a fair point there. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I think there's a fair point. Again, the Hawks are they're the Blackhawks. They're going to get outdoor games. I just think the timing was a little. This could have been another year, a couple years later. But again, that's just me.
Also, we can all agree that like the outdoor games, everything around it is awesome. I mean, we all saw it.
Oh, the experience was fantastic.
I saw it.
Yeah.
That all of that is so awesome, and I think that alone warrants to continue to keep doing them. But let's be honest, the product itself sucks. The quality of hockey is so garbage. Like it looks like they're playing in slow motion. And then also, I don't know. I think having the game on a baseball field where the fans are nowhere near, like it feels wrong. You guys probably have a different perspective. You guys were actually there, so
I thought it was good. I thought it was really
seats
good.
are actually great. Like with the upper deck, like you get a pretty good view. It depends where you are, right? Because there's definitely, I'm sure there's plenty of nosebleed seats where you're not seeing shit. But where I was, like you get a pretty good view. I think Winter Classic, I think baseball stadium is where it's at. And the stadium series could do like the football. I think football stadiums are probably harder in terms of sight lines. Like I was at the 2014 game at Soldier Field, and like that game you could hardly see anything. So I think probably
well, because there was insane snow, you couldn't even see 5 feet in front of you.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Obviously the weather affected that, but like just like the layouts of football stadiums probably don't like complement that as well as probably baseball parks.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you think it's the opposite?
Yeah, because I mean the stadiums are built this, like the fields are built the same way. Like a baseball field is a diamond.
Well, I'm thinking about like Wrigley's so tiny though, and Fenway. I think those types of baseball stadiums. Yeah, okay, maybe I should have like supplanted that. The bigger ones probably don't. It's probably better for the football, just the way it is with the rectangle
I
anyway.
think the football you're a little farther away though, right? Like, doesn't it? Like, aren't you actually like physically farther away?
I
Like,
think so, yeah. But at the same time, you're looking down on the the field more, so you're getting a better angle.
I don't know, whatever.
It depends on the stadium. It depends, yeah.
But
To go back to some of these comments that like Foligno and Bedard were like, they were like sad and apologetic. Like that was the first time I can't remember the last time I saw, like, I know when teams lose in the NHL, guys get frustrated and they give honest interviews. That happens all the time. But these guys were like lamenting the fact that people came to that game. Like I haven't seen that in so long. The front office, like what
They have to see that and respond.
Yeah, like don't they have to give like a statement.
Yeah.
It was so bad. And like Bedard bringing up how much money people spent to go to the game. It's like I don't even think like
Bet he's a man of the people.
good on Bedard for exactly being the man of the people and like thinking about that. But like he can't even comprehend that. He's on an entry-level deal making like $900,000 a year. There are so many people that went to that game that are living paycheck to paycheck and spent a significant portion of rent on that game and then watched that, witnessed that, paid for that. That's really bad. And that's going to stick with people. That's the type of shit that sticks with people. And I think that Kyle Davidson, I said it on the phone last night, like he's got to they have to find a way to make it up to the fans because like, I obviously can't speak for anyone, Justin, as you just said, there's going to still be diehard fans that like will still go to games and stuff. But like, I'm a diehard
Casuals aren't. Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing that. Like you have to make it up to people like me because that was so bad. And that's why I don't want to put any blame on the NHL or anything, because I think that Kyle Davidson and our front office have to be completely held liable for what happened yesterday.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, he designed the roster that was placed on the ice last night, and it's fair to say, like, if it wasn't already, I said this yesterday, if it wasn't already clear, like, yeah, I mean, Davidson, in terms of constructing this year's team in last year's offseason, was a complete and utter failure. Like, I think we can all objectively agree with that now. I still, believe in his long-term vision. We still got to see all these prospects pan out, but we got to play them first. Not send them down to Rockford when when they're playing fine, but yeah, and then develop these guys. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the additions he brought in, we're not it. He's got to make up for it in this year's offseason for sure. He's got to right those wrongs. Next year's team, we can't see this again. We can't be where we're at now. This time next year, we got to see progression. I'm not saying next year's team's got to be a playoff team. I think we're a ways away from that, but we have to at least make a step, and show that we're getting there. Because right now, this is as bad, if not worse, than last season, which is kind of saying something after all those additions that we're probably a worse hockey team.
Yeah.
2 points. 2 points. One, it is worse than last year's because of expectations.
Yes. He said it himself.
You know what I mean? Because with expectations, you know what I mean? Like last year, there were none. So when you're terrible, okay, cool. That's what we thought was going to happen. This year, it was like, okay, there was supposed to be, even if it was a baby step, it was still supposed to be a step. And now it's like, it's not there. It's not there.
It was bare minimum expectations, bare minimum, like just improvement. And we still haven't met them. We still haven't met the baseline, which is pretty sad. I mean, very sad.
So, and here's the thing too, like this might be like an interesting take. This year's team against last year's team in a 7-game series, last year's team might win just because you have guys who like wanted it more on the team.
Yeah. You had guys that needed it. You had guys that needed it last year.
Versus
you don't have
guys
all these
that are
guys
like fat and happy and content right now.
Yeah, a lot of these Uggs, these vets on these deals, these stopgap deals. It's like it seems like they're coasting a lot of times out there. Whereas at least last year's team had heart, it had fight. That game, there was no fight, there was no heart. Like they looked like they mailed it in, honestly, and that was embarrassing and pathetic to see. Like I don't care if you lose, as long as you could say you put everything you got out there, and it's been a question mark of this team at times.
It's it's quite a pickle that I think this front office have found themselves in. I mean, literally everybody in chat right now are saying they're all saying that Kyle Davidson's got to make this up. And then Juicebox was like, what does he even do? And that's so real. I don't know what the exact metric or what the bar is, but if there's not a significant improvement over the offseason heading into next year to this roster, he has to go. Like it's completely unacceptable. You can't just not do your job for or do a horrible job at your job for 2 years in a row and just still get a paycheck. Like,
Yeah, his seat's getting hotter. Like I think we're not there yet, but we're getting there, right? I think the poll was in, Chicago, Bavaria, similar situation, right? The seat is getting hotter, and like this time next year, I think next year, kind of what this year was for Richardson, right? And he got fired. I think next year probably will be the case for Davidson, right? Got to see that clear trajectory and progression,
people are saying now, Trevor and Juicebox are going back and forth of what to do in chat.
I gotta check that out.
I think you gotta sell everybody you can at the deadline. You have to sell everybody that you can because you're not building around any of these guys. Let's not be sentimental over Ryan Donato and Taylor Hall. It's a business. Move on. Get draft capital. Ship them out. Get either young players or draft picks, and then go and get your big fish. Don't hang on to these mid veterans that are just here for a temporary paycheck that don't need it. Like these guys don't. They should. You don't think they're going to move on from guys?
Oh no, I meant like they're not going to hang on to them. They're not going to do that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they can't. They literally can't. Because
I'm sorry. This person in chat actually made a really good point. Again, I wonder if he's Canadian. Let's be real here. On what merits did KD even get the GM job? Honestly, I couldn't even tell you. Like, what was he even? I know he's been at the Hawks organization since 2010, but what really was his track record? Like, he is young. I think he's the youngest GM in the NHL, right? And I know a lot of people put faith in him. I still have some faith. I think he's built a strong prospect pool here. But in terms of like NHL rosters, he hasn't really proven himself yet. And that's actually kind of a fair point there. Maybe you give guys longer leashes who've proven it in the past, but with KD, he really hasn't proven himself yet. This is his foundation that he's building here.
I feel like you can't even credit him that much. Like the prospect pool, it's like this team's been horrible for several years. They've been picking high. What do you mean the prospect pool? If anything, like we're gonna see in maybe a year or two's time how that second pick was. Like
I don't know about that one
over Demidov.
I would have taken Demidov all day. I mean, hindsight's 2020, right? But I mean, if we run the podcast, in May, I would have been saying it every show. If you follow me on Instagram, that was what I wanted. Again, not saying I know more, but that we'll see how that one goes. That was my first really red flag was when I saw that. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like you've got all these scouts. I'm not going to be like, oh, thank God for Kyle Davidson for building this prospect pool. It's like
that's not just him, right? It's the people around him, right? It's the yeah, like you said, all the scouts.
What you really should be judging him more on is his free agency,
free agency
and
stuff.
people that he's brought in that are like actual NHL guys, because he obviously was wrong. He was bad. He did a bad job. He brought in the wrong number of players and quality of players.
Yeah.
It's like you've got 3 or 4 guys that now looking at it were horrible moves. Like Brossoit still has not played a game. Even if you don't want to say that that's Katie's fault, that was still horrible. Like it was still bad.
It's funny. Like that's going to be a conundrum. We keep talking about it. It's like, and like we keep saying, oh, we got to keep Soderblom, right, and like trade Peter. Who the hell is going to want Peter right now, dude? He's been terrible the last few games. So what are the Hawks going to do when he gets back? Like they're just going to have 3 goalies on the team. Like with Soderblom, like he's been fine. I don't know why we didn't start him in the Winter Classic. We were saying it like many shows leading up to it. Start Soderblom. We didn't. I don't know why. And now it's like we're gonna have a decision to make when Brossoit does come back, because if we send him down, then somebody's gonna claim him. So like that's KD is kind of boxes in that hole too.
It's bad when just 3 jabronis like us are constantly right about this shit. Like we don't have any of the resources or information that Kyle Davidson has, but we are repeatedly right about things. That's concerning. That tells you that you have a general manager that is maybe not very good.
Always right. I know there was somebody in chat one of those days who was calling us Wayne and Garth from Wayne's World, suggesting we're like Beavis and Butthead out here. But even Beavis and Butthead are still more correct than KD more these days, as you would say.
That was probably Kyle Davidson's burner account.
You're probably right about that.
but I mean, I do not envy the position that he's in right now, especially after that one. But I mean, big stuff has to happen and things have to change. Best of luck to him. I guess we'll see. Tassos, we're tanking now, right?
Oh, yeah, you got to embrace the tank.
Well, yeah, but, a few more points from the Winter Classic, or at least something I wanted to mention that Justin and I said, Justin, you said you had another fellow memer of yours come from Edmonton, and I just wanted to say
that's right, yeah.
People traveled from freaking Edmonton for this.
Yeah, I had a few followers from Canada too, like not just Canada, like all over the place, like not just Chicago people going to this game. Like for us, like I complain about it. Oh, I want a refund wherever this game sucked. Oh no, I get to drive like take a Uber 15 minutes home and chill on New Year's Eve. And like other people actually came here, made a little trip of it, spent all this money on plane tickets, and got to see that product on the ice. It's embarrassing. So I feel from Hawks Up on Instagram, that's the guy you're referring to. That's my boy. Got to meet him at the Winter Classic, so that was a positive. Like he even said that like at least I got to meet the legend Bjork memes. So the glazing is crazy, the self-glaze. I appreciate that.
No, but I just, Lee was like, oh, some people spent like part of their rent on tickets. Like, yeah, if you're local, some people spent like, for some people, that was like their big thing for the year. You know what I mean? Like that was like their big family trip or something, or their big trip with their friends, or even like maybe some people went solo. I don't know. Like we met the two guys from Vancouver and stuff, and they weren't Hawks fans, but they were just hockey fans, right? But you never know who these people are and where they're coming from, and I don't know.
And I will say it's pretty ironic that the Blackhawks came in like their entrance was like they're dressed up in like the blue collar, like Chicago, like firefighter fits, like, oh, we're for the people, we're for the city. And meanwhile, we put out that type of performance to make you spend all that money to watch this pathetic club. So I thought that was pretty ironic as well. Another thing I want to mention too, the Hawks did the quarter century reveal yesterday, and for the St. Louis Blues, a lot of their legends showed up to it. Brian Campbell was the only Dynasty Hawk to show up, and he works for the team. None of the Hawks alumni, who were named to that showed up to it, which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, some of them like started playing for the Blues, and Canes got games going on with the Wings, but like all these guys like Tays, Sharp, like Keith, all these guys, like, oh, it would be nice to see some of them there. But is there something telling there? Does that mean anything? But I just thought that was kind of interesting that nobody really. I think it was Campbell and Jocelyn Tebow. That was it.
Friend of the show, Brian Campbell, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. He made an appearance on the CHR clip that we posted. That was pretty cool. Nice to see him. Shout out to Brian Campbell, legend. But I thought that was kind of curious.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, you hope they're not alienating these guys.
That's the point I'm putting out there. Sorry if I'm really bad at making points today. I'm not full here right now. But yeah, like I just thought my thought is, the Hawks have an issue in the past of alienating alumni. I just hope that isn't the case right currently. I just thought that was interesting.
It might be like, and also like guys like Kane and Tays might have a salty taste in their mouth when it comes to KD. Like they got pushed out, and I don't think that sits right with people.
The Kane situation bothered me too. I always thought we could have brought him in to mentor Betsy, but he's like, no, 2010, we can't circle back on that, yada yada. It's like, I don't know, I want to build a team here. We got, whatever.
Yeah, before we get into that what was it called? Is it the Millennium team, the quarter century
team,
all decade team?
It's the quarter century team.
Where are they even coming up with this stuff? Before we get in,
it's 2025, so quarter century from 2000.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay, but well, you're asking where they came up with it. I don't know.
It just felt very I don't know. It's like very timely. It's like, oh shit, scrambles. What should we do? Oh, let's talk about the best players that we had 15 years ago.
Well, every team in the NHL did it.
Okay.
Every team in the NHL. It's like an NHL initiative.
Okay. Before we get into that though, I don't want to move off because chat's still going pretty wild over the KD stuff. Somebody in chat said, correct me if I'm wrong. I've only followed hockey seriously for around a year, but it feels like no one on the team has any knowledge regarding a game or building a team. I don't I don't necessarily think that's true. Like, I don't think Kyle Davidson doesn't know anything. I just get the feeling that I get from them more so than that is that they're trying to be too cute. It's like they watched fucking Moneyball and they loved Jonah Hill so much, and they were like,
Advanced analytics nerds.
yeah, let's do that. And they tried to be so clever and cute, and it's just like, no, just go sign good players. Sign good players, draft players with high ceilings.
Don't overthink. Don't
overthink it.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of overthinking. Like, I know we don't like Levshunov still could be elite, and that still could be a good pick. But the reality is that they picked him because he fit a roster spot, not because they thought he had the most potential.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a problem when you're drafting. And then the TJ Brody thing is unacceptable. Giving him 2 years, like, that's so not only it's not like you bring in Maroon or Mikheyev or Smith and they're kind of not very good, but you have them for a year and it's like, it's whatever. They end up not performing. It's fine. You can't really take too much blame. Bringing in a guy that you have to pay over $3 million to for 2 years who ends up being horrible is like, that sets you back. That hurts your wallet. That goes against the salary cap. That move was so bad. And so was Broswell. So, not only have they made decisions and brought in guys that have been bad, but they've made poor decisions that like actually hurt the roster and like moves that you're trying to make. Because now we're in this goalie situation that we've been talking about where you've got 3 guys and you kind of handcuffed yourself. It's like that. Those moves are really, really bad. And I just think that it's important to focus on that because I don't think anything else matters right now. Like, I'm so done talking about the team, honestly, because it's like, what even is this? Like, this team is not, it's temporary. It's a single use hockey team. That's what it is.
Your point is, few guys on this team are going to be around for long. All of these the core, yeah, they're like 1-2 year, deals, stuff like that. These veterans, stopgap transitional pieces to let the guys develop in Rockford and etc. Yeah,
yeah.
Moneyball is a great movie. You brought that up. I got to rewatch that. It's a fantastic movie.
No, it is a great movie.
Yeah.
Spencer said Jonah Hill is responsible for last night. He really is. I put more blame on Jonah fucking Hill than I do on the NHL. I'll tell you that much. I think the movie Moneyball is more responsible for what we see right now than the NHL.
Because you do see a lot. I mean, there's a point to that though. Like, there are a lot of GMs and like sports teams who are trying to replicate, that type of move, the team, and like it's not as easy as it looks. Not even close. Sometimes the eye test, the simple moves, are the better ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you got to go to Mitch Marner now.
Well, you'd be lucky to get Mitch Marner on this hockey team. I know you may disagree, but I don't know. Talk about winning right. 10 more games a year. That sounds nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
You wouldn't hate. I wouldn't hate it for this show either. I don't think our listeners would either. So
yeah, no, it would do wonders for business.
Yeah, it really would. Do you guys think there's something brewing behind the scenes? Like, you don't think he's really sitting there, not making calls and not.
He's not doing it. He's not doing his job. He's not doing that. I mean, it's not just one game. It's not just one game. Like, this has been a thing all season, especially since the Christmas break. We've just been getting blown out. We're dead last right now. I mean, yeah, you better be working the phones, doing something, because what's we're seeing right now isn't it? It's clearly not all coaching, right? It's just this roster just flat sucks. So something's got to change. Yeah.
But I think we have to acknowledge the fact that he might not be doing it. Like, he might just stand pat. Like, that is a possibility. He might have convinced ownership, like, hey, this is going to take 3.5 years. Just trust the process. We're going to get the first overall pick. Be patient. And he might have the owners bought in.
Yeah,
like, Danny Wirtz might be like, yes, I see you. I hear you. I don't care that the single mother just paid $7,000 to take her kids to the Winter Classic game to see them get absolutely trounced.
Or that Chicago Hockey Radio is on air ripping them live on YouTube right now.
Yeah. No, they are clearly, if there's one thing for certain, Nobody in the
Nobody's
Blackhawk
watching CHR.
organization is watching this show.
Yeah, no. If they've been listening, if they've been watching the show, they'd be making the right moves, and we'd be in a lot better mood right now. This team would be in a better spot, right? Delusion.
We'd
Nah,
probably
I'm just
be
kidding.
we'd probably be the Hawks broadcast, the three of us.
Yeah.
That'd be cinema. Pat and Eddie on Wish.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, I know I always say Mitch Marner all the time, but you're not getting Mitch Marner out of Toronto right now. And you're not getting Mikko Rantanen out of Colorado. Like, they're not trading Mikko Rantanen to Chicago. If Mikko Rantanen ends up a Blackhawk, something went wrong between him and the Avalanche between now and July 1st, and he hits the open market, like, wanting to shove it up their hoop,
Yep. It'd be because he didn't get enough money, and then we would be the ones giving him the money.
Or, like, they even gave him, like, an insulting offer,
Yeah.
But I think the only quote-unquote star that you could probably trade for right now is Elias Pettersson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because his situation with JT Miller in Vancouver, he'd probably be looking for a change of scenery. It probably could benefit him. I'd be interested in that.
I also just don't think, like, are there any stars available on any team right now, like, that fit the age demographic?
Wyatt Johnston's contract year. You should try to poach
but
it.
you can't trade for Wyatt Johnston right now.
I know, but you can offer sheet him.
Yeah, you could. But they could match it. You know what I mean? I'm saying if Kyle Davidson tomorrow or today wanted to make a trade, like, who are you going to get? Nazem Kadri? Like, he's 31.
Dylan Cousins. I don't know. Yeah.
Dylan Cousins, maybe Dylan Cousins. But
we
that's
don't
not
have
like
anything to offer them.
But that's not like a superstar either, Justin.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. I'm just
It's close. I mean, he could be a superstar. Like we also saw, like Sam Reinhart's a superstar now, I would say. But
what would a PD trade look like? What would we have to give up to get Pettersson?
I think Kevin Korchinski is probably a part of that deal.
Yeah, first and a top prospect. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
maybe more. Yeah.
But it can't be like the Hawks. The Hawks can't give up their first round pick.
I don't think Vancouver would want a pick. I think they'd want players that are like, they're trying to go win a Stanley Cup. They're going to the offs. I don't think they give a shit about a first round pick.
You think you could do like Jones, Korchinski, and a first for Pettersson? Would that get it done?
Maybe like Donato, Hall, and Korchinski or something.
But Donato and Hall are free agents. Like they want somebody who's like long term going to play with Quinn Hughes. And I know they have Hronik, but like they got to beef up. That's why in like you were talking about like the Sean Avery interview. They were talking about like shipping Keandre Miller for Elias Pettersson or for JT Miller to the Canucks. You know what I mean?
They'd probably win Alex Vlasic.
No way.
Why would you? Put on your Vancouver Canucks jersey, all right? Close your eyes. Your Canucks jersey's on. You're a Canucks fan, all right? Bedsy's coming home to Vancouver after his ELC. So is Macklin Celebrini, all right? We're all Canucks fans now.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you trade Elias Pettersson for Seth Jones? No.
I said Jones, Korchinski, first round pick. I didn't say Pettersson for Jones straight up.
You'd say yes to that though, as a Canucks fan?
I don't know if Pettersson's like, I want to leave right now.
Fair.
Oh,
I guess that's an
if that would be us, like I think while the Hawks could and should do something now. Like at this point, it's like a part of me is kind of okay if just like we'll just stay in the shitter for the rest of the season and get that top pick. I think this is more probably an off season problem for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my 2 cents. I don't have anything to add to that. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. There's no point in doing anything now.
Like right now, like this is an off season problem. Yeah. Yeah.
The stream is
The
dying right now, guys. I don't know what's happening. I'm very sorry about it, but we are not getting much.
I'm gonna see if Sully's on the Wi-Fi right now.
I know. I turned the TV off, hoping that would help. And
okay, you guys want to hit a break really quick?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hit a break. We'll come back with the NHL hour. Maybe we'll get a little bit more Hawks talk bleeding into this, but we'll be back on the other side.
Okay.
All right, and just like that, NHL Hour, Chicago Hockey Radio. We're probably going to do a little Blackhawks talk here because we had to abruptly end the Blackhawks conversation. Sorry, I'm going to take a little fault for needing that to be a little bit of an extra long break in between pods. But we have a clip from Nick Foligno that we're going to get to here shortly. Nice music cut off, Raven. So... yeah, I don't know, guys. Sorry, we cut it off very abruptly. I don't know if there was anything last thoughts that you had to get to, or anything technical difficulties. KD was in the stream hacking the chat.
KD heard what we were saying, and he wasn't okay with it.
He wasn't liking the slander.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So sorry about that, guys. It's not on us. Don't blame it on us. Blame it on Kyle Davidson.
Fair enough.
Do you want to play the clips? And then after the clip, should we talk about
one clip? It's
I'll tee it up a bit. It's a long clip, like it's one answer, but I think it just feels honest thoughts on the game and what happened. I think it was just worth including the whole bit, just like this honesty.
I'm sorry. I'm really tired of it, honestly. So I look at myself and what can we do different, and I think every guy has to do that because it's just not working. So the old cliche, at some point the fans are going to be tired of hearing it, you guys are going to be tired of hearing it, and we're going to be tired of saying it. So it's doing it, and it's just understanding how hard you have to play and how committed you have to be to winning hockey games. And, we can't be behind the eight ball in the start of the game. It's just, and it's not pointing fingers, it's just being a pro. It's just understanding you can't give a team in that game, each team was looking for momentum. We give it to them right away, right? And and then we're not a team right now that's built to withstand being down two, and we can come back, and we kind of made a game of it, but then boom, they get some seeing eye shots. We're not committed to blocking shots, helping Peter. You can't see those pucks are going through you can see how dark it is in behind the glass. So when he sees those shots coming, you lose it for a second, and it's things we didn't do. We didn't capitalize on our chances as well. We definitely had chances to tie the game, to score, and you got to look in yourself and say, I got to do more, right? So that's where this team's at right now. It's no one's going to feel sorry for us. No one's going to try to help us out. We got to help ourselves out, and that's the disappointing part. Is it seems like we crumble right now as opposed to digging in.
So, coming from a guy that was a captain of some pretty tough Columbus teams that did eventually, with John Tortorella, start playing above their heads and actually becoming something, when they went and got Panarin, and remember they got Duchesne at the deadline that year, and they went all in and they beat the Lightning, you know what I mean? But that was a slow build up to that point, where there were some lean years, the Ryan Johansson, Cam Atkinson years, and I know this is not to do CBJ talk right now, but this is a guy that's seen stuff like that. And remember I don't know if I said, I think it was on, because I wasn't on Monday's show with you guys. I said this yesterday, on the Winter Classic special we did, but you can't make bad hockey players bad. You know what I mean? That the same reason that I don't love Bedard slamming his stick around the ice, because it's not going to make Louis Crevier any better at hockey, right? Louis Crevier is just bad, maybe, right? I don't know.
Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
First. Yeah, I said it yesterday, but I know this is an area where I disagree. I like him showing that emotion. I know you're right. It doesn't make anybody better, but it just shows that he cares. It shows that it pisses him off. I'd be more pissed off if he was stagnant, just oh, it is what it is. It's clearly not like that. A lot of players on the team are clearly pissed off and frustrated. The right players, right, like Betsy. Actually, it's something pretty interesting to bring up. It's a little related to that. It's a little article from Bleacher Nation from Tad Banford. I was reading off a little quote from that article. I think it was pretty telling. After the game, we were told that Nick Foligno, Connor Murphy, Seth Jones, the three formerly recognized leaders, and Taylor Hall would speak to the media. When we got in the room, we were greeted by Foligno, Murphy, Hall, and then came out Connor Bedard. The teenager spoke after the game. The 30-year-old making $9.5 million to not. For me, I think that's pretty telling. I think that shows that Betsy is kind of starting to step into that leadership role a little bit. For most people, it's thought, oh, he's a 19-year-old, he's too young, he can't handle the letter. I think that's a whole bunch of baloney. I think he's got that right mindset. I think for Seth Jones, too, I think that's pretty telling as well. I thought that's just something that's interesting to bring up. Yeah.
Dude, I think that this team is turning into passion merchants and apology merchants. Dude, I think Tassos.
What do you want him to say? What do you want Betsy to say? What do you want these? What do you?
it's not that I want them to say anything different. It's just it means less than nothing to me. Like I don't think this team can pull itself up by its bootstraps. Like as Tassos just said, maybe Crevier's just bad.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
the
that.
entire roster is just bad. Like they're not figuring this one out. Like no matter how many times Seth Jones goes to the media, he's still gonna
He
be
didn't go to the media.
he's still gonna be bad defensively. Like
That I don't like, Justin, too. Like, I will agree with you that players who make upwards, like the highest percentages of the cap and also wear letters on the team, you speak to the media when
Yeah.
things are
Yeah.
bad. Like,
Yeah, what was his reason for skipping
there's
that?
no
Yeah, I
reason.
don't-
There's no
like
Yeah,
the
no.
-2, he's gonna get shredded.
But though, you know what though? Like the Chicago media doesn't shred anybody. You know what I mean?
True.
Like this isn't
No.
Buffalo. Like the
No.
Buffalo media, dude. Those guys are intense. Like
Yeah.
this
Canadian
is
media.
nothing. This is
Yeah.
Carolina compared to that. You know, like
I've noticed that too. Yeah, I feel like they're always defending like the management and players and all that. It's like sometimes like criticism, valid criticism is warranted. I think right now, especially right now, definitely there should be that. None of this coddling and nonsense, right? No change is going to happen.
I think that there's got to be something to do with like, these guys don't want to get in trouble and
Yeah.
which sucks. That's why I think it's awesome that we're in the position that we're in, that we can be honest and say what's like. You can't watch these past few games and not be like, this team is horrible,
Yeah.
like something seriously wrong. I think that and I keep saying it, but I think the idea that this team is like has the ability to turn this around is complete and utter delusion. It's over. This team's dead bad.
yeah. Well, we know. It's just
Breaking news.
Breaking news. The Hawks are bad.
Blackhawks suck at hockey.
The sky is blue.
But you're
the
right.
grass is green. Well, the sky's gray today, but you get the point.
Yeah, the weather matches the mood right now. But yeah, for the Hawks, I mean, you don't play again until Friday against the Avs, which for me is like, yeah, I think two days without having to watch the Blackhawks. This team is a positive. But now it's like, I'm very curious to see how they come out, though. I want more time to talk about on the Friday show, tee that came up. But I am very curious to see, because that's 3 games in a row now. We've just come off an absolute shitter in the Winter Classic. Like, what are we going to look like Friday? Is it going to be a 4th consecutive blow? Is there going to be, I keep saying there's going to be a response. It hasn't happened yet. 5 straight losses now. It's the most we've seen this season. Like, how long is this going to go on? Like, are we going to see any signs of life here? Like, because we still got so much, like I said before, we still have so much hockey to play this season, Not really much to play for, but, you got to put something out there. You got to show some fight. I'm just curious to see continue to see where we go from here. Yeah.
You want me to tell you how Friday's going to look?
Yeah,
How's it gonna look, Lee?
Let's hear. Since you so accurately nailed the Winter Classic.
I really
I know
did.
you
He did.
I know you did.
I hate when Lee's right. He was right and we were wrong. We're just not worthy over here. We don't know puck like Lee does, apparently.
Yeah.
They're gonna come out looking mediocre. First period's gonna be close. Montreal's gonna take the lead. It's gonna end up being a close game, but Montreal's gonna win. That's
Tyler Bertuzzi was scoring for a 5-3 goal, late, yeah.
And Chris Paul hits a big 3 to cut the lead to 40.
yeah, it's a 40.
That's Tyler Bertuzzi. Every
Yeah.
game in the 3rd period, this guy, it's unbelievable. That sounds about right. It's like the same thing every time. It's like Groundhog Day. Bill Murray was at the game last night too, by the way. So that was a pretty good segue there.
Good. Just an old man getting cold as hell watching a bad hockey team.
I was so
He did the
cold,
7th inning
dude.
stretch. Yeah, yeah.
How cold was it?
Again, temp-wise, I don't think it was that bad, but like it felt cold. It felt colder than it was. There's just temperature, then there's like what the temp feels like. It felt like it was like 10, 20, but I think it was really like 30.
Still?
Yeah, it was raining for the 30 minutes in the lead up to the game.
Oh, it's probably worse for you because you were in the bleachers. I was in the upper deck. Yeah, there you go.
My rear end was so wet.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you were in the heat of
dude.
it. Yeah, rough.
Was what was like the vibe? Like Tassos, you said that you heard somebody say like that the NHL did this too soon. What were like? Was everyone kind of bonding in the bleachers over how bad it was?
People are
Yes.
pissed off. I mean, they were booing the Hawks when they left ice after the second intermission when it was 5-1, which deservedly so. Yeah, like it was pretty. The crowd was clearly very moody, and the Blues fans are kind of taking over. Which, to be fair, I think it was pretty close split, probably 60-40 there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did crowd talk last night, but if we wanted to do crowd talk again, those Blues fans showed up. They were loud. They, every "Let's Go Hawks," they were
There was a
"Let's Go Blues" at the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
time, and
There's definitely a battle throughout the game.
yeah, and it was close. I mean, there were definitely more Hawks jerseys than Blues jerseys, but not many.
We were stuck next to these Blues fans that just wouldn't stop yapping. Like I wanted to drop the mitts to. They were trying to be crazy. But anyway, they had more to cheer about than we did.
You guys remember back like when we were playing them a couple years in a row in the playoffs, when the rivalry was good and they had like Backus and Oshie and obviously
14, 16. Yeah.
I remember the Blues. Maybe it was the Predators. I'm pretty sure it was the Blues because St. Louis is so close. But they were trying to do something to ensure that they.
Oh, you think it's the Predators?
It was the Predators.
It was the Predators. 2017 Predators, like stopping Hawks fans from getting in the game. Yeah, like that was what they did in 2017 playoffs.
Okay, never mind. Completely irrelevant. Move on. Do we want to talk about this quarter century team?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Hawks' first team, kind of as you expect, maybe one change I would make, but yeah, Tay, Sharp, Keith, Seabrook, Crow. Can't really complain about that. Maybe Hossa had a Sharp, but otherwise, I think, yeah, that's par for the course. The second team is Hossa, Cat, Saad, Brian Campbell, CHR legend, Nicholas Chalmerson, and Jocelyn Tebow. And that was kind of an interesting poll. But yeah, I mean, I'd say not really too many shockers there.
Yeah, they were naming a random Hawk player for that second team goalie.
Yeah, they were doing our game. They clearly saw our stuff.
So, okay, no, like Ray Emery, no Scott Darling, no.
Well,
Yeah.
it's Antti Niemi.
Antti Niemi,
Yeah,
true.
yeah. Chris
Antti
Paul,
Niemi he won, not even Chris Paul.
Nikolai Hobby
Antti
Bullen.
Niemi won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, you're right.
He was your starting goaltender for
Yeah.
a Stanley Cup, a franchise that only has 6.
Peter Mrazek.
Peter Mrazek. No.
Not after last night.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Also, a change I would make for the second. Also, yes, Hossa instead of Sharp. I think just what Hossa did was a little like.
Guy's never retired. Yeah.
Patrick Sharp was a beast of a scorer, but Hossa did everything.
Mm-hmm.
Alex DeBrincat. I think you should put another Cup guy in there, like throw Bufflin in as a forward. Brian Bickle, one of those guys.
Dave Poland.
Dave Poland.
Yeah, it's a fair. I mean, I had a great connection with Kaner, but I understand him over like Panarin, who's only there for 2 years. I think Bedard set him for his. But yeah, to break it, I think makes sense. Betsy, I'm just kidding. Too soon.
No, but seriously, yeah, you could have done like someone like Panarin at that point. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and the defenseman, yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I mean, Charles Campbell, I think that made sense. But yeah, that was really maybe the only other one. It's Saad too. I know Reese is biased, but he was still a huge part of those teams, so I think you can't really complain about that one. The Tebow one that's a puzzler for me because those 2000s teams sucked. Could have had like a backup from the Cup teams or Niemi, like you said. That's very odd. Yeah.
I'm gonna look up how many career wins Jocelyn Tebow has with the Blackhawks.
That was before my time of like really what I was.
That's the thing. Like
I was so young.
Yeah, you think these current Hawks teams are miserable? Like those like early 2000s Hawks teams were like even more miserable because like a lot of players in those teams. It's like who do you even like root for here? Like at least we have Betsy. Like those teams, there was nothing to root for really.
It was like
really to 2005 when Keith and Seabrook showed up. That's when when the post lockouts when we kind of started the progression. But like before that, like I don't know, let's say 02, 03, 03, 04, just absolute misery. You couldn't even watch the games on TV. And nobody showed up to the games. Yeah.
So hold on, I'm getting it here. I have it here. So Jocelyn Tebow has 137 career wins with the Blackhawks. Raven, could you look up what that is like all time for them? He had exactly one season with a winning record with the Blackhawks. That was
102.
No. Oh, yes. 102, 33,
That's the one year they made the
23, and
playoffs.
9. Yeah. But the following year, he did have a 915 save percentage, which was his best season save percentage in his NHL career. He had a 917 in 18 games but that was like his first little stretch second little stretch in the NHL. But they sent him back to junior after that. But that was the second highest save percentage of his career. So, yeah, I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
Prop sports too. Maybe a decent goalie and a lot of bad Hawks teams, right? But he, at least gave him a shot, I guess.
Anthony Niemi had a 910 save percentage in the 2010 postseason and won the Stanley Cup. This guy should be the fucking. This is your second goaltender. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I think those Hawks team, that 2010 team was so good. I think he could have put anyone in that net. But yeah, just because he won a cup, I would probably put him in there out of Tebow.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
he was a beast on that playoff run. He was really good. I remember after
He was clutch. He was clutch.
after he left, it was like, what are we gonna do? Like that was our guy.
Well, Crawford stepped up. He was like light years. I mean, Niemi was good. Crawford was great. Yeah.
Do you guys know how many? Okay, so I have it here, Raven. Don't worry about it. Jocelyn Thibault's 5th all-time in Blackhawks wins. His 137 wins. Do you guys know the top 5? Do you know the 4 guys ahead of him?
Esposito, Glenn Hall, Crawford, Ed Belfour.
Nice. Nailed. In order. In order. He got it.
In order. I wasn't even trying to go in order. There we go. Nice.
You know Justin's always gonna have that shit on lock.
Oh, I always got those stats in mind. Good with that stuff.
Do you guess? Okay. I know Anthony Niemi was the starter for Stanley Cup run, but I'm actually going to stick with my Ray Emery / Scott Darling picks too for that, because how many career regular season wins did Anthony Niemi have with the Blackhawks?
26.
27.
Oh, yeah, he won the previous season. Yeah, 26 in 09-010. Yeah.
And that was it. Razor had 32 and Scott Darling had 39.
Ray Emery went 17-1 in the 12-13 season. That's insane. That's gonna be one of the best backup seasons for a goalie ever.
Yeah.
Did
And
Ray
Scott
Emery
Darling- yeah. What?
down? Did Ray
Yes.
Emery
Yes.
down?
Yes. Rest in peace to Ray.
Yeah,
Emery.
rest in peace. Yeah. And Scott Darling, we don't win that 2015 Cup without him, because Crawford had a rough series against the Preds. He stepped in and won us that series. So, hometown guy, too, if you want to have that connection. Although when he left the Hawks, though, it wasn't the same, really. I think he's a stand-up. He does stand-up now, Scott Darling, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
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 All right.
Anthony Niemi didn't need to be bailed out on his Stanley Cup run.
Yeah. I mean,
Are you saying he's better than Crawford?
No, I'm just saying that you can't not give the guy won a fucking. I don't care about win stats. I care about Stanley
Legacy.
Cups.
Yeah. That's fair.
He won a Stanley Cup. He won. He was the starting goaltender who was really good. Posted a 910 in the playoffs. Come on.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
I'm not a Maple Leafs fan. I don't give a shit about regular season wins.
Fair enough.
I just had to make sure Tassos was paying attention there.
all right, bud.
Right,
That's all I had. I know we stretched Hawks and NHL hour together into a beautiful blending here, but do we want to transition to the National Hockey League here a bit more, or
How about we transition to the World Juniors?
hey now?
USA.
Hey, and by the way, I kind of had the right pulse on that game too. It was low scoring, and then there were a couple goals in like the last 5 minutes.
I think I said it'd be 4-3 USA. So that one I was actually pretty close. I was not even close with the Hawks one. I think Lee was right on both. So Lee just beats everybody today or yesterday. Jesus. But yeah, USA. I mean, absolutely curb stomps Canada 4-1. They did outshoot us. They've Canadian fans like to mention that. But all the refs and the calling and stuff. Maybe stay out of the box and play disciplined hockey. Also, Canada, they can't score, man. And they put themselves in the situation. All the snubs from this roster: Beckett, Seneca, Michael Misa, Nick Lardis, all the defensemen they left out. Zane Parekh, Carter too, like all these players.
Yep.
Yeah, I have a hard time pronouncing that name, so I'm glad you did it for me. But yeah, like all these great players, they leave off the squad, so it's like they put themselves in this situation. They are responsible for this mess, and now they get to play Czechia in the quarterfinals. Like that's not going to be an easy game. USA plays the Swiss, so I like USA's odds for gold here. I think it's a strong squad, and we'll see if they meet again. Yeah.
Yeah, quarterfinal day is tomorrow at the World Junior Hockey Championship. The other quarterfinal matchup being Sweden, Latvia, and Finland versus Slovakia. So I like it, and we could set up for a Canada USA World Junior Final too. The way the bracket is shaken out right now. So although Canada could get bounced their next game, and my gold medal pick could be obsolete. So.
I want to say USA Canada. Well, I think both of us do because we both had them. I think we all had them actually because Lee just did the same picks as me. We all had USA Canada in the gold medal game, so I think we all love to see that. I just love the skill and the swagger this USA team has. Like they're not afraid to give it to the fans and to the opposition. It's like when you're getting booed every game when it's USA versus the world, that's the way it's going to be, right? Like Cole Eiserman was giving it to Easton Cowan, which is pretty funny too. I'm not going to say exactly what he said, but it was pretty entertaining. Cole Hudson did the, showing him off the logo, like
And
you can't hear me now.
He did the
Did the
can't hear
Cater
you.
Matthews, yeah. Well, I love that. This team, it's been great, man. A good response after the Finland loss. Finland tends to be the USA's kryptonite in these tournaments, so I don't really want to play them again. I'd rather play Canada, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
What did Eiserman say to Cowan? Did you see that?
I think he just said like nice effing job or something,
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah, that
effing
boy
penalty.
cowboy,
Yeah,
something
boy
like that.
cowboy or something
Yeah,
like that.
another word in there. Yeah, something like that. It was pretty funny.
I'm sorry. USA is. Can I say it? We've taken over. Like it feels
Our
like
sport, rah.
feels like every year now our team is just filled with savages. Like these guys are just
We got
these,
dogs.
they're killers, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like Canada is just so soft. They've got Canada. It's one of those things where it's like they're supposed to be the best, and so they just overthink everything, and it's always a media circus. And the USA boys, like, it's so much less chatter around the team. It feels like, obviously, because I guess in general, Americans fans don't care as much as Canadians do. Hats off, Canada! Congratulations, passion merchants. But that's all you. That's what you guys are becoming now. Canada's becoming passion merchants. Like,
Can you define passion merchant for me?
yeah. It's you lose a game, but hey, Connor Bedard was slamming his stick, showing a lot of intensity. They care. You got. Let's be honest. These
Sounds
Canadian,
like me.
these Canadian fans, they care. These Canadian players, they care. It means a whole lot to them.
Canada's
And then
goalie at the World Juniors name is Carter George for the person asking in chat.
He's had a good tourney too.
Yeah.
He's kept him in it, really, honestly.
Yeah. That's
Also-
like literally the only bright spot on the team for them.
Yeah, they can't score. How about Freebird for USA's goal song? That is
Awesome.
that is elite. That is absolutely elite. I just love hearing that every time they score in Canada's barn. Like that is like I saw a clip of all the game fans leaving early in the third period with Freebird blasting in the background. That's gotta be the most American moment of all time. I would say as much as that Hawks game sucked, like rewatching that game and getting home like that made yesterday much better. It made me feel a lot better. I needed that. We needed that. It made me kind of forget about the Winter Classic for a little bit. That was nice. Yeah.
Juicebox in chat called them moral victory merchants. That's what I'm talking about. Like you lose games and then you take positives from it. That's what Team Canada is.
I think Team Canada might be negotiating with KD right now to get Betsy over there for the gold medal rounds. That's their only chance at the moment. Yeah. Honestly, for Betsy, probably rather play in this tournament than this Hawks team right now.
Oh boy. I don't know.
I'm just joking. I'm just kidding around.
Maybe.
I never know. I'm just joking.
Do the other four nations face off teams, the Sweden and Finland, do they have a chance in this World Juniors, or do we even care?
Yeah, Finland.
Sweden
played
teams.
us.
Yeah, Finland beat us in OT, as Lee said. And Sweden, they took us to they were a gold medal team or a finalist last year, and we won the gold medal. And this year's squad has a lot of returning players in that team, and they're undefeated so far. So, yeah, if anything, Sweden might scare me, and Finland might scare me more than this Canadian team, actually, if I'm going to be honest.
Neither of them scare me, though. Like, we lost.
Not scare me. It's the wrong word, but like,
we lost to Finland in like a group stage game. Like, when it actually matters,
We'll show up.
Do or die, we're going to beat everyone. We're not going to lose.
Hockey's do or die.
We're not going to lose another game.
Yeah.
The USA's winning this tournament, and nobody can convince me otherwise.
USA's been clutch in the World Juniors in recent memory, man. They've kind of had Canada's number. I think they've won 6 of the last 8 matchups they played them. So a lot of times they tend to make better decisions when constructing these rosters too, which that helps as well. Less positive decisions like Hockey Canada. Yeah.
I wonder what USA's odds are to win the tournament.
I'm sure
They gotta be
that's
the favorites
online.
now. Gotta be the favorites.
But do you think they're minus? Do you think they're like?
I don't know. Why don't you find out?
Yeah, Mr. Betting Man over there.
Because I will use this platform to say the relegation used to be a best of 3.
That's
and
right.
then last year, I think they changed it to just a one-off, or maybe they did it like a couple of years ago, but I know it was last year too. I don't enjoy that. Make it a best of 3, please. it's just not fair to these kids that, the World Juniors is such an interesting thing because you could have a good crop like of kids one year, like you could have a good year of kids one year and have a not as good year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so Norway was in the D1A tournament to gain promotion, and they had a good year, right? They had Brandzeg, Nygaard, and Solberg get picked in the first round last year. Like, that's a good year for Norway. They normally don't have 2 kids drafted in the first round of the NHL draft. But if they got promoted, like Solberg and Nygaard wouldn't be there, I don't think, next year. I think they would have aged out of the tournament, right? So Norway's team wouldn't have been as good as the one that was in it this year. So I just think sometimes it doesn't like always promote the best out of teams sometimes. And I just, you want to see that, right?
Wait, so what's your proposal?
And just make the relegation a best of 3. I don't know if it really fixes the problem, but I think the IHF is going to see some big changes in the future anyways, but that's neither here nor there really.
The USA are they are even money to win outright the whole tournament.
Who's second?
Canada's
money.
Of course.
They're still second. Okay.
Yeah, plus 220. Yeah, if you want to talk about value, go Finland. They're plus 1,000.
In Finland, they have good track record. When it's not USA, Canada winning gold, it tends to be them in the World Juniors. If you look at past history here,
Yeah,
Sweden always chokes when it matters. Yeah.
Sweden's plus 390. Yeah, if you're betting here, you're picking USA or you're picking Finland, and if you're picking anything else, you're an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, Finland's plus 1,000 still.
Yeah,
That's pretty good odds. I would take
great
that.
odds.
You're
I
a
might
betting
just
man. You
put,
take
like,
that all day.
$5 on that.
4 nations. Same thing with the 4 nations. Take Finland and the 4 nations if you're taking anything. It's not like they have like non-NHL players. They've got studs on their roster. They're like last time I checked, they were like plus 700 to win it. It's like, really? They just have to win a couple games. Like, they could definitely beat any of these teams on any night. So yeah, I think if you're betting for value or you're throwing random things in a parlay, throw Finland in at plus 1,000 for some value. But I think USA plus 100. I think that's free money. I might take that honestly. Right now, throw some coin on that because I don't think the United States are going to lose another game at that tournament.
I hope so. They've never gone back to back in the World Juniors. So this would be a good time to change it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, things are changing. The next 10 years, I guarantee you, we win more than Canada does.
I hope so. We still need to see it on the international stage, because that's Canada still kind of owned us there. But hopefully it'll start to change now. I think the USA Hockey's still rosters stack up as well as they ever have against Canada. I think the 4 Nations squad is better, to be honest with you. So an Olympic squad, I think, is going to be better. So we'll see.
We will.
Sorry, you first.
The only point I was going to make is that even if USA and Canada are even now, all the media and the attention and the drama around
it's always Canada.
So much higher than the US. Even if you want to say that we have a better roster going into this 4 nations, we're going to have less pressure than Canada is, and we're always going to have less pressure. And so I think we're just going to start beating them like a lot.
I hope so. It's about time the tables start to turn there. I'm sick of getting owned by Canada. I'm enjoying this kind of changing trend here. Yeah.
Yep, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. Hope so. Hope we're not being delusional. I don't think we are.
The one thing I say, or the one thing I will say though, at least about the World Juniors is
Canada tends not to have the best players available.
Yes, and Gavin McKenna is going to come back next year and rip this tournament up. I think he'll do what Bedard did his year.
1 goal in 4 games right now for Mr. McKenna. I think Betsy was over a point per game when he was his age.
Have you seen the ice time charts for
It's been inconsistent, right?
If anything,
they should be playing more.
We talked about this when we said that Finland fired their coach in 2016 at the World Juniors. I think Dave Cameron is not.
He's not that guy.
He's not that guy. He's not that guy.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
That's a better way to say it than what I was originally had on the tip of my tongue. But yeah, not that guy.
I could see McKenna having a big play. I mean, that's hard though. 23 points. It's going to be hard to replicate Betsy's 2023 World Juniors. And it's not just like the team around him. Like that Canadian squad might be the best World Junior team of all time. Like that squad was something else. And they have not been able to replicate that since. So yeah.
To beat Betsy's numbers, you're gonna have to get a good draw. You're gonna have to play Latvia, Kazakhstan, and fucking United Arab Emirates or something.
Dude,
Yeah, that's gonna be
watch
hard
out
to-
for the UAE in the next 5 to 10 years in ice hockey. They're on the rise. They're the fastest rising nation. This year, 2024's World Championships was the first year that the UAE wasn't promoted, and like they keep getting promoted every year because they bring in a bunch of Russian guys. That's a fun obscure hockey fact for any of you
Is that right?
international hockey
Yeah.
people. Yep, yeah, the UAE is putting a ton of money into their program.
They yeah, but if they play Canada, it's still going to be a cookies night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Gavin
I just
McKenna
mean
still
eventually
licking
they'll
still
beat
licking
like
his
Poland.
chops for a 7-point night when he sees the UAE boys suiting up across from him. Oh my god!
Do we want to talk a little National Hockey League right now?
Yeah, sure. Well, here's the thing. This is
Oh,
what I
not
find so
really.
odd. There's one game being played today, almost like the Winter Classic should be normally played on January 1st when there's no other hockey games going on to take their eyes off of it. But yeah, there was a ton of games yesterday, like 12 other games. I was mostly watching, the USA Canada game when I wasn't watching obviously the Winter Classic being there. So, but yeah, I find that very interesting. Like 13 games followed by one on January 1st. Very odd to me.
And then 12 tomorrow.
Yeah, like NHL, man.
Make it make sense.
Okay. Yeah, make it. Yeah, seriously. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I know my boy Showtime had a goal. I mean, the Red Wings have been playing a lot better under McClellan. Got consecutive wins. They beat the Penguins last night. So maybe there's something there. Maybe it's just that initial bump, and then they'll come back to earth like we have lately under Sorensen. I guess I still think that team kind of sucks, but at least they're playing a little more inspired right now.
The NHL also announced their 3 stars for the month of December. Nathan McKinnon was the first star. 13 games played, 7 goals, 18 assists for 25 points. Second star of the month was Draisaitl, 13 games played, 10, 14, 24. And the third star of the month was Jacob Markstrom, actually. 8 wins, a 130 GAA, and a 937 save percentage, and 2 shutouts for Jacob Markstrom.
Holy chumping.
That's the number one. That's
He
insane.
probably should have been the number one.
Wow.
Numbers are crazy.
That's unreal. In today's high-scoring, high-flying NHL to have a 937 an entire month,
Yeah.
that's unthinkable. Wow.
Yep. And Lane
Less
Hudson was the rookie of the month, 13 points in 14 games. So
I was a little surprised by that. Yeah, I mean, I know he had a good month, but I thought, I thought for sure it would be Macklin, but I'll take that. Yeah, I was also point on Lane Hudson. Cole Hudson it's like watching the same exact player in
Yeah.
the World Juniors, dude. It's like they're literally clones of each other. It's pretty funny to watch. Yeah,
I also didn't realize those two grew up like
Barrington.
2 towns over from me. Yeah.
Yeah, in
They're from-
Illinois. Yeah, Chicago kids. KD, what happened there, bud?
I was on X the other day, and
X,
they just
everything app. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
they showed the U.S. roster, and then obviously where everyone's from, and somebody was
It's
just
like
making
4 Illinois people. Yeah.
yeah, ton of Illinois, ton of like Boston, ton of Minnesota, but somebody was making a point that Michigan has completely fallen off the map
As far as what, producing hockey players?
Yeah. And
The state, not the university.
Yeah.
somebody else was saying that it's because like Minnesota has like 4 times the amount of rinks as Michigan, which is like a thing I don't think about, like especially since I didn't grow up playing hockey, like the access to ice is like so important,
Oh, yeah.
No
Sure.
shit.
And Chicago's got plenty of ice rinks. Played a lot of them.
Wonderly.
Yeah, you need a place
Really?
to play, So yeah, Michigan, step up your game. You're not on Illinois' level or Minnesota.
I've actually thought of that. And when I play in Canada, it's like they do an interesting thing where a lot of the rinks there have like multiple rinks within them, where it's like 4 rinks or 6 rinks within one arena. You don't really see that as much in the in the US. A little bit more now, but a lot of it's just like 1 or 2. Like there's a normal size NHL rink and like one like tiny studio rink. I found that just really interesting, like tidbit between USA and Canada. Maybe Minnesota's different like that because that's pretty much But that's some interesting fact there.
The rink I grew up playing at in South Florida, shout out. Now actually no free ads. But they had 2 ice sheets and a roller sheet that was always on. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
But yeah. A couple other things.
That ice.
So the NHL did this, call this a little awkward. So all these teams are doing like quarter century teams, right? The Utah Hockey Club did not take the history of the Arizona Coyotes along with the purchase of the Coyotes, correct? Right? This is a new franchise. So the NHL posted The NHL. Sorry, I forgot I'm on camera. The NHL posted the Arizona Coyotes quarter century team.
No way.
Yeah,
All
on the
the-
Instagram account. So that's kind of like I feel for all the Coyotes fans out there that are still like
Just
in
gotta
Arizona.
remind him. Yeah.
Just to rub a little salt in the wound. Let's read it though, just to give them their shine. First team: Shane Doan, Clayton Keller, Radim Verbata on forwards, OEL and Keith Yandel on defense, and Mike Smith in net. No real argument there. And then the second team is Martin Hansel, Jeremy Roenick, Nick Schmaltz, former Blackhawk. And on defense, Zbigniew McCulloch, who was so good back in the day. Just that was a player I loved watching growing up. That just for absolutely no reason, Zbigniew McCulloch, and his brother Milan. And then Teppo Numanen was the other defenseman, and then Ilya Brizgalov, who's such a beauty, was
The
goalie
universe
for
is
the
so
second team.
humongous. The humongous universe.
And then, can I bring up one last point from the Winter Classic too? Justin, do you remember in the middle of the game they announced it was Cam Fowler's 1,000th career game? I thought that was really awkward.
That's right. And then he had 2 goals. He had himself a hell of a game there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he had 2. Yeah, he did have 2.
He had 2
didn't he?
goals. That is insane. He had as much goals as we did.
Okay, so I thought that was awkward because yesterday was technically a home game for the Chicago Blackhawks, so you don't generally hear the away team or like the home team PA announcing stuff going on for the other team's players. So I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
How about something even weirder in relation to Cam Fowler's 1,000th career game? You know how the teams always like wear shirts and stuff? The Anaheim Ducks are walking in today with Cam Fowler 1,000th
Oh
game
my.
t-shirts. How awkward is that?
What?
How
That
awkward is
is-
that? This is Radko Gudas, Ryan Strome. They're all wearing Cam Fowler. Like, okay, and I know there was a big sticking point with a lot of Anaheim Ducks fans when they traded Fowler to the Blues was that he was 9 games away from 1,000, and they did the same thing to Corey Perry, that he was like not far away from 1,000 games played. Oh, my phone just died. But you get the point. You can go look on the NHL's Instagram. Please catch that. Thank you, Raven. Yeah, how awkward is that? I thought that was pretty funny.
What is up with that? That's a PR nightmare over there. What in the?
Like,
I
they're
would be-
wearing the shirts, and the NHL posted it.
Guys, at least I know things are bad with the Blackhawks right now, but at least we're not Anaheim Ducks fans. At least this isn't an Anaheim Ducks show.
Bro.
I would be so pressed as a fan that like some of your big media stuff is celebrating accolades of players that aren't even on your team anymore.
That's crazy to me.
It's so
That's
poverty.
unreal.
That's
It's
worse.
so
That's
awful.
worse than them announcing it at Wrigley. Because
Yeah.
Wrigley, at least, like I know it's a home date for the Blackhawks, but with
Maybe because it's the Winter
proximity-
Classic. It's technically still like neutral, like
Neutral.
it's home. Yeah. Fair enough.
Was anybody did you guys hear anybody shouting around you during the moment of silence for Jimmy Carter?
no,
no, I think people are pretty respectful. about it.
I heard people shouting on the broadcast.
Really? I didn't.
No, I didn't. Everybody was chill.
Okay. Yeah.
I have to say, like the whole thing yesterday, it was beautiful. Like
Yeah.
like the kids playing hockey on the side on the little sheet of ice. You know, that was super cool. They had like a bougie party on the other side of like in right field, I guess. Yeah, 'cause the
poutine.
kids. Dude, the poutine was incredible. You were dogging it. I said this on the post game show. It was excellent. Where's my little hat?
The experience was great. The product sucked. The experience was great. That didn't take away from anything for sure. Oh, nice.
$22 worth of poutine came in this hat.
We're becoming stadium food merchants, boys.
I want to say, since you brought up the Winter Classic, I've been seeing a lot of media nonsense, right? Oh, Betsy had a rough game, yada yada. I mean, the Hawks had a rough game in general, but I want to say something. Betsy has 33 points in 38 games. He had the same amount this time last year before the incident. I will not rehash what that incident was, but you know what I'm talking about. There's another Blackhawks legend whose year 1 and year 2 stats are pretty much identical. You know that player was Patrick Kane, and those Blackhawks teams were far and away better than this shit we have right now. So I just wanted to put that out there for all those people who are worrying about my boy. He's good.
Absolutely. There's no worry for me, at least. There's
No,
no worry.
No, not at all. I wanted to bring up because there's a lot of media nonsense out there. Yeah.
All right. You guys want to wrap?
I think so. I think that was a great show.
All right.
You guys excited for this Devils Kings game tonight?
Oh, I was
Shut
super
up.
excited. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please, please, please tell a friend to do so that way we can go to the World Juniors next year and also do fun stuff. Yeah, like next year's World Juniors are in Minnesota, so we would like to go. So subscribe to this YouTube channel. Tell a friend to follow us on Instagram. If you already do so, send our profile, send our reels to friends of yours, and yeah. So please do that. We mentioned
I don't want to work in a restaurant. I don't want to work in a restaurant.
No more Lee missing Winter Classics.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
no more 3 a.m. texts from Lee that he needs to do the show on Zoom. Please. So,
I can't do it, guys. I can't do it.
Yeah, neither can I. Trust me, Lee. So please subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review. We will see everybody Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Adios.